With each passing hour that Bobby Wagner doesn't sign with some team in the NFL, Ravens fans, as skeptical and negative as we can all be sometimes, we just kind of assume that it's just a no-go, that it's not going to happen. My question is, do we have to have Bobby Wagner? I'm not really going to necessarily take a side in this in terms of whether Bobby Wagner can play or not, because that's not even part of the question. Man's, he's hardly missed any football games if you look at his stats year by year. Hasn't made less than 104 or maybe 114 tackles in any one season. I think we had 170 this past season. I don't really know a whole lot about him in pass coverage, but anybody that's intelligent enough, committed enough to their team and their technique to make 170 tackles, 140 tackles another year. Anybody that's committed enough to be able to make that many tackles at Mike linebacker, they can defend the pass. Don't believe stuff that PFF and all these other people tell you. If someone is capable enough and committed enough to their technique to make that many tackles, they can play against the pass. Now, can they step out there and guard some of the best slot receivers man to man? Well, hell no. No. But there's a lot of strong safeties that can't do that either. So the way people judge inside linebackers, and I'm just going to say it, and some of you aren't going to like it, the way people judge inside linebackers, you don't even know the coverages half the time. PFF damn sure doesn't know the coverages. So for someone to sit back there and say about certain inside linebackers they can't cover, they really don't know what they're talking about. I did a video on C.J. Mosley earlier this winter, and C.J. Mosley on film can cover in zone great. Man-to-man doesn't look as good. That's a fact. But he can cover. He can play the pass, and so can the guy. So can the guy in the middle of the screen. If we don't get Bobby Wagner, for 11 million, whatever his asking price is, the Ravens probably are under that 11 million mark. I would guess. I would guess his per year mark probably looks something like the offer to Zadarius Smith. Obviously, Bobby Wagner would improve the defense. There's no question about that. But do the Ravens need to get him, given that they're going to pick up some? They're going to fill some other needs in the draft, and then presumably look at guys like Tavon Young, re-signing him, maybe Bynes, maybe L.J. Fort. Obviously, we have Queen, so we have one of the inside linebacker pieces figured out. But there's a pass coverage weakness there that is on film for 2 seasons in the NFL that Ravens fans hopefully recognize is reality with Patrick Queen at this time. I'm going to show you some film of Josh Bynes here. I'm going to talk about my Teespring in a couple of minutes as a little quick plug or ad, and then hope to get some feedback from people about what you think. Do we actually have to go get Bobby Wagner at the price tag or near the price tag that he's asking for? So what I'm going to look at is about 14 plays from Josh Bynes last year. I'm going to start off with some run reads first, and against the run, he's a classic inside linebacker, makes plays, gets after the football, fits things properly. I don't have any issue with how he takes on things in the run game at all. If you had Josh Bynes' run fits and Josh Bynes' ability to diagnose things in Patrick Queen's body, you'd have a Bobby Wagner type player, but we can't do that. It's not Matt. Here's Bynes on the weak side of the formation. Queen is actually on the strong side. Some people think that once Bynes showed up, Queen played the will all the time. That's not true. They were sometimes setting the front to the strong side, sometimes setting it to the weak side. Watch Bynes fit this in the B gap on the back side. He tracks this back, stays right on his backside hip where he should be, and then once the back decides to cut it back, he's able to fit back inside that B gap, which was open, wide open, and then make the tackle. Great play. I think I'm going to show you 4 or 5 run plays here. This one I talked about after the Chargers game. This one was just really unique. First of all, you've got 2 gaps open here. I believe this is a 3rd and long situation, but I could be wrong because we've got board in here for Queen. And Queen was often off the field in those situations unless we were playing man. But in any case, you got 2 gaps open here for Bynes to have to defend. Watch how he's able to do this. First of all, they block back on Calais Campbell with the guard. And I love this. I love how Bynes does this. I've never seen this before. I've never seen an inside linebacker. Look at all this space for the running back to possibly, cut it back into. Bynes understands I gotta stay here because it's a huge ass space for this back to cut back into. But simultaneous to that, I've got to try to compress this lineman back here, so he does it with one hand. I think I think Josh Bynes is an extremely underrated player. Very subtle in some of the things that he does. And what I mean by subtle is, I'm not being insulting towards fans, but I just mean he does a lot of things that aren't necessarily picked up on film and that announcers aren't going to mention. But if you have 11 guys doing all of those subtle fundamental things, then you've got a really damn good defense. And that's why I'm a huge fan of Josh Bynes. He's the backside inside linebacker here against the Bears. It's 12 personnel. You got 2 tight ends right here on the Ravens' right. So we're kicked over in like an underfront. And Bynes, they're going to run weak side. Bynes is going to be the backside guy. Now, he's getting blocked into it by the left tackle from the Bears, but he always fits things on the correct side. One of the things that I have seen Queen do on run away from him, if Queen was here, I've seen Queen try to overlap this thing and then open up stuff where the back can wind it back. Josh Bynes is doing a really nice job, again, staying on the backside hip of this running back right where he needs to be so that there is no cutback lane like that. And, of course, that leaves him open to getting hit by the left tackle, but he does it anyway because Josh Bynes is a team player. Against Cincinnati, again, he's on the weak side. So, like I said a moment ago, you got the tight end here. So everybody thought that once Josh Bynes showed up and started playing a lot, that Queen played Will all the time. That's not true. They were interchangeable sometimes. In this case, we got Queen down into the boundary, which they did a lot to kind of hide some of his pass defense deficiencies. Bynes, I just think this is really underrated. He doesn't make the tackle, but he makes the play. He is responsible for the B gap. He's responsible for this gap here. This nose tackle, I think that's Brandon Williams, is responsible for the A gap. Houston is responsible for the C gap. He's the edge player. When these guys start moving, the gaps move, and Brandon Williams gets overtaken. I think he gets overtaken by this guard, essentially scooped. He pretty much gets overtaken, so Bynes just says, screw it. I'm going to go ahead and jump in this A-gap here. He knew something. Watch his body language. I feel like his film study must be impeccable, and I think that rubs off on other people. I'm sure Bobby Wagner's film study is unbelievable too, and I'm sure he would do the same thing, except he'd probably, he'd make more plays than Josh Bynes would. Man's never made less than 104 tackles in a season. Josh Bynes, I think his best season was 99 tackles with the Bengals in 2000, and then they go ahead and they released him next year, and then the Carolina Panthers cut him in preseason after that, and then we picked him up this year. So am I saying that Josh Bynes is equivalent to Bobby Wagner? No, come on, man. I'm just illustrating to you that we can play winning defensive football with Josh Bynes, especially if we pick up, some really good, maybe a good edge player, maybe another good corner or whatever in the draft, and supplement the rest of the defense. Josh Bynes is a exceptionally good complementary piece, if you ask me, that would probably re-sign with the Ravens for a really low salary. Now, who knows? While I'm making this video, Bobby Wagner might have signed with the Ravens or the Cowboys or the Rams or something like that. He is to the weak side again. The tight end is up here. Out of 11 personnel, it's under center. And Bynes takes on this pulling guard. It's the F counter play. Knocks it back inside. Now the back ends up still squeezing through here, but that's not on Josh Bynes. That's on Ferguson. This is on Ferguson, who's the kick-out guy. Right here. Ferguson jumps upfield, creating more space in here than there needed to be. There should be about half as much space right here as there is. Consequently, when Bynes takes on this pulling guard, there is a little bit of room for this back to scoot through here. But, like I mentioned earlier, as somewhat of a, I won't say weakness, but a tendency for Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen, again, is to the strong side. The run is going to go weak side here. When Patrick Queen is the backside inside linebacker, so I'm saying he's the backside inside linebacker, and Bynes is going to be the front side. What I mean is the run play is going here, so Bynes is to the front side, Queen is to the backside. When he's the backside guy, what he does a lot of times is he runs over things. So this is actually works out like a wrong arm, even though Bynes doesn't wrong arm this. Bynes sets it back inside. What that means is he's taking it on with his inside shoulder. He's taking on a half a man with his inside shoulder. If he was wrong arming it, he'd be jumping inside this gap here to naturally allow Queen to overlap, which is what happens anyway here. And again, I offer to you that that's just Queen's tendency here. But Bynes stuffs it. He just stuffs it at the line. If we go back to the All-22, the line of scrimmage is what, on the 47? Let's see where Bynes stuffs this at. On 47. That's perfect. You can't get any better than that. You can't get any better than meeting the pulling guard at the line of scrimmage. That means his reads and his reactions and his quickness are perfect on this play at least. Love it. That's quintessential classic inside linebacker play. All right, against the pass, Chargers, third down situation. First game, I believe, Bynes was inserted as a starter. We all know he played a wonderful game there. I love this. I'm showing this as the first pass play in this video because I'm still amazed by it. I'm still amazed by it. The route combination, first of all, he's getting on the field late, all right? You can see we're kind of unsettled. So there's 3 of the routes that are going to develop. Just so you know, Bynes is here. So Bynes is not going to defend the vertical route by this guy here. He's not going to defend this route. He's not going to defend this corner route, this post corner route, if you will, by this tightly aligned slot. He's not going to defend that. What they're doing is they've got a drag by this receiver here, and then they've got this dig over the top of it. Watch Josh Bynes' awareness level. He understands route concepts, guys. I'm not saying that Patrick Queen doesn't. I'm just saying that Josh Bynes does. And Bobby Wagner does too. Here's the under route. Josh Bynes is not jumping it. The first down marker's here. First down line to make is right here. He's not jumping that because he knows that's bait. And I've got other guys over here underneath droppers that can help me out. He lets it go. Watch his face mask. Did you see his face mask? There's the dig right there. He's already identified. I'll pull it back so you can see it again. This is the near interception. You get a really great view from the end zone angle. I love this play because he came on the field late, and you can see when he comes on, he's adjusting people as he's coming on the field. They look to him. He came on the field late, and they look to him to make the adjustment as he's coming on the field late. What that means is those guys on the field trust him, and they rely on him. That shows up on film to me. That is obvious. In any case, he's not going with that under route. He knows the concepts that NFL teams use. This could be a scouting situation, with film. He could have scouted this and recognized it. But in any case, he understands concepts. The end zone angle is even better. And if I haven't done a good job explaining to you how wonderful a job this is in coverage, that's my mistake. Excuse me. That's my weakness, not Josh Bynes, because this is an excellent play. All right, he's going to get the vertical route by Cook running past him. All right, that he's not concerned about because he knows he's got a DB over the top to help. And then he's got the underneath route in front of his face, which he sees. And now he recognizes, okay, this is the bait, this under route. Let me go ahead and snap my eyes right here, right now, and identify the dig. Now he drifts over just a little bit too far, otherwise this is an interception. If he doesn't drift over this far, this ends up being a pick. As it is, it's a great play, pass defense, that almost is an interception. Almost is an interception. It's still an amazing play. If you've spent any time playing inside linebacker or coaching inside linebackers, it's an incredibly demanding position. I offer to you that might be one of the most difficult positions to play in the NFL right now. Inside linebacker here, he's going to jam up this slot receiver, number 17, who's just running a little stop route on the hash. Bynes is a hash defender. It's empty. This is one thing he does really well, is get his hands on people and redirect them. I have about 4 or 5 more examples of him redirecting receivers that I'm not showing in this video. This is just one of 3 that I chose to show you. That is an underrated skill, is the ability to recognize I'm playing a wall technique here. Wall meaning I'm going to wall this dude out. So I'm basically, I am the wall, and I'm not letting him get inside that hash, and I'm going to go ahead and be physical with him. And then my guys up here, obviously have got to handle the quarterback, which in this case is Justin Fields, and is extremely athletic, but it's not his job to be a QB spy in that situation. Against the Browns, somewhat similar play. I believe Baker Mayfield extends this play, and Bynes is initially going to cover this slot who goes in and kind of tries to settle in between the hashes. Baker Mayfield extends the play, and then watch Josh Bynes lock up this tight end. I think that's Hooper, but I could be wrong. And again, he's getting his hands on him. You can kind of see it here a little bit. When Baker Mayfield starts to extend this play, Bynes starts to get his hands on him. Hopefully this video isn't stuttering for you guys. Video quality is not great. I see that now. He gets his hands on people. That is an underrated skill. Would there be times where maybe they'd call a penalty? Sure, there would. All right, if you haven't done so already, if you've considered it, check out my Teespring. I put a link in the description of every one of my videos. There's got some all 22 merchandise, different colored T-shirts, all basic designs. Have had a number of people give me feedback. Actually drank from the coffee mug myself tonight. It was kind of fun. Probably sold, I think, 17 or 18 items at this point. I'd appreciate you guys checking it out if you have any interest at all in supporting the channel, through Teespring. There's different merchandise on there than besides just the ones you see here. I'm not really comfortable doing a whole bunch of plugs on some of the merchandise, but I feel like I have to do that. Against the Dolphins, he's going to get a sack. I love this play not because it's a sack. I love this play because the awareness that he shows mid-play. All right, so you got a backwards pass. So now you can obviously see the body language here that we could get a double pass situation. All right, and that you don't know that now, but once the ball is thrown backwards, especially to somebody moving to his right. Most people are right-handed. I think it's 83% of people are right-handed. We would presume that NFL players, are a sample size that's about 80%, 85%, something like that, are right-handed. He's moving to his right and looking to throw. We can see that. Here's what I love about Josh Bynes. My man McPhee, who's another one of my favorite players, is going to miss the tackle here on the outside. But at least, and this is one thing you always tell people, players, is if you're the force player or you're the edge player and you do miss the tackle, miss it on the outside, make this guy go back inside where all your help is. Don't ever miss the tackle on the inside and just give him the edge, because then they would put Bynes in conflict, which goes to my point about this being a high-level awareness play. He understands this is an eligible receiver. He understands that's an eligible receiver. So he's not leaving him. You can see he's staying with him, even though he recognizes that this guy right here is set up to pass. So he's an athlete, obviously, who's trying to throw the ball, but he could just take off. Bynes isn't just leaving him instinctively to go attack because he recognizes that it's an athlete and not just a quarterback. Even if it was the quarterback, you might attack here. Bynes recognizes mid-play that is an eligible receiver. Everybody doesn't do this. There's people who would leave. It's like a fast break situation in basketball where it's a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1, and you got a non-shooter somewhere. Well, you leave the non-shooter the hell alone. I just think mid-play, Josh Bynes has got great awareness, and then, guess what? He finishes the play with a sack. If I haven't convinced you that Josh Bynes will be a great option for this team, I don't think I ever will, but I'm going to keep putting it on my channel because it's my channel. And then maybe there'll be a day where they don't sign him and he goes to some other team. But, hell, man, we've had a great run, and he brings back some of the lineage of Ravens defenses, and I think there's something to be said for that. In coverage against the Vikings, running back, I think this is Dalvin Cook. Cook's going to run out into the flats. Now, this appears to be zone that Tavon Young kind of messes up a little bit. But in any case, Bynes makes up for it, running with the back, making a tackle after like a 4 or 5 yard gain. Underrated play, if you ask me. Now, when you are an inside linebacker and you are out, you can never get outflanked by the running back. So what I mean by that is look at Bynes' right foot. I have seen multiple examples of him. His alignment is impeccable. He's never getting outflanked by the running back. So look at his outside foot, and he's got a full, what is this 3 yards there of maybe it's 2, but he's never getting outflanked by the running back. That's one thing I always used to try to teach kids is you never get outflanked by the running back because that running back's faster than you. He's the best athlete or one of the 2 or 3 on their team, and you're probably somewhere around the 10th or 12th. In any case, great play by Josh Bynes against, Dalvin Cook, who obviously is a great athlete. You've got a tight end here, and then another tight end here who's in the backfield. I call him an H-back. I think this is a play action with an over concept by the tight end. I'm going to let it run a little bit, then I'm going to talk about it. Again, underrated skills that Josh Bynes has. Some of those soft skills that not every linebacker has. Not everybody comes into the league with. This is another example of one of the weaknesses of Patrick Queen. It's one of the things that I've talked about with Nakobe Dean also is that you got short arms and you've got a small surface area with shoulders. Maybe it's the type of shoulder pads he wears. Maybe it's just his shoulders and his body physique anyway. But what you end up with a lot of times with Patrick Queen and also with Nakobe Dean, who's in the draft this year, is you end up with tackles like this where there is what looks to the opportunity to have solid contact and a good shoulder-to-chest tackle or chest-to-chest tackle on anyone. In this case, this is an NFL athlete, but it's not a premier athlete. He's not one of the best 6 or 8 athletes on that offense in terms of being able to juke people. Patrick Queen, opportunity to get a solid hit, has to finish it with a shoestring tackle by grabbing the guy's leg because the surface contact area that he offers is just too small. All right, let's check out Josh Bynes on this. It's a play action. This tight end is going to run this little over route or shoot under. Watch Josh Bynes get his hands on him when he recognizes pass. Is it a hold? Yeah. Well, it's also occurring within the 5 yard area too. Now, should it be called a penalty? I don't know. I don't care. I just love that there's a competitive streak there and awareness. He reads, oh crap, it's not run, it's play action. Let me go ahead and grab this guy, slow him up a little bit, and then try to run underneath of it. You can see he's not trying to trail. He's not trying to fit on his hip. He understands angles. He doesn't have to be on this guy's hip the whole time here. He can run here, and then if the ball is thrown to this position, that allows him to run a shorter distance than if he's trying to run on his hip, and then undercut it. And if you don't understand what I mean, that's fine. If you played the position and you understand what I mean, you can have some distance here between you and the tight end running the over route because of where the ball is going to be thrown, forcing the quarterback to throw it over the top of you, which leads to more incompletions. Anyway, good read by him. A good read by Queen too. They switch sides. Now Bynes is ending up on the same side as the tight end. Queen's going to end up over here on the weak side. So I guess you're going to call him the will. Same play, end zone angle. Watch him hold the guy's hip. Soft skills, man. Subtle, smart. Just a winner, if you ask me. Just a winner. All right, against the Chargers, week 6. Maybe week 6. There's the route combinations you're going to get. So Bynes is here. He's going to get the tight end running a vertical. He's got to stay on the inside of this vertical. He's got to stay on the inside hip of the tight end. He does kind of begin to cross the tight end's face too soon, if you ask me, and the ball could be thrown vertical. He's getting width now and not laying any hands on the tight end or not carrying him vertical at all. And so could the ball be thrown, splitting these two inside linebackers? Theoretically it could, but it's not. Bynes is a hash protector. He understands if he's got a vertical by 2, he's probably got something by 1 that's checking up. So his job is to take that away. Now we do give up an underneath completion to the fullback. I offer to you that there's times where playing inside linebacker, you've got 2 choices and neither one of them is good. He can't be here stopping this fullback from catching the ball and then giving up this comeback in route to the number 1 receiver. He's got to be a hash protector. If anybody should be handling the fullback here, it should probably be Patrick Queen. But I'm not saying that that's necessarily the case. You got Bowser dropping out into the flats to help out with coverage as well on the tailback who's running the flare. Let me know what you guys think of this play. Sometimes as an inside linebacker, the route combinations and the design of it, it's just good stuff by the offense. And it's difficult for you to defend. Against the Vikings 2 weeks later, or 1 week later, I like this because you get a wheel by number 2. Number 1, which I think is Adam Thielen, runs like a comeback in. And Bynes recognizes there's no work on this side right here. There's not going to be any work for him. Nobody releases. He's reading the quarterback's eyes right now. You can see he's reading the quarterback's eyes. So he's going to get underneath of this deep comeback in route by the number 1 receiver on the other side. Now the ball's already thrown. The ball is over here, or maybe that's the shadow of the ball. But the ball's thrown before Bynes could make a play on that route by Thielen. But my offer to you is this. Patrick Queen has some bait in front of him, this route by the running back, and then he's got this guy settling in behind him. Josh Bynes has no bait, so I understand he's got less work. What I'm offering to you is that Josh Bynes is a guy who has enough awareness mid-play to recognize, I don't have any bait in front of me. Let me go ahead and find some work. Is he going to be able to tip this ball if it's thrown to Adam Thielen? There's the football right there. I don't know. But he's putting himself in position to possibly do so. He's finding work. When you have defensive players that will find work, whether there is any work in their area or not, if you have 11 of those guys, man, you could have a very good to great defense. And I think he belongs on this defense. This might be my last Josh Bynes video, so I'm going to make it a damn good one. I know we're working on like 24 minutes here. Screenplay to Landry. Takes just a great angle, if you ask me. Gets inside of Chubb's block here. Actually, Chubb doesn't even touch him. Chubb's going to get the strong safety. Just a great play. He made many of these. Wish that we could have him back for another season. Hey, it'd be wonderful if we had him and Bobby Wagner if Bobby Wagner is able to sign. I don't say that it's a Josh Bynes versus Bobby Wagner thing. Maybe the money we allocated to Ricard would have allowed us to go after Bobby Wagner, but that's neither here nor there because that's done. Last play that I'm going to show you, we're bringing a 5-man pressure apparently, but it looks like Bowser's kind of sitting back. And we do get beat on this flood concept if you're Bynes. Now this is a hell of a thing to try to defend. Hell of a thing to try to defend. So this guy came from the backfield. This is the number 1 receiver. And then you have this guy who ran what looked like a vertical, and then he turned it into an out. There's no way that Bynes can defend this. Just no way. This guy's going to run out into the flats. My bad, I was trying to pause it. So you got a vertical by 1. This guy pushing in, that's Landry, and then running the out, or deeper out. It's almost impossible as an inside. If he was able to make this play, that is revolutionary inside linebacker play. If anyone's going to be able to stop this concept, number 2 running the deep out, and number 1 running a straight vertical, if anyone's going to be able to stop this route right here, it's going to be this corner coming off and coming down here, and then this safety going over top of number 1. But that's a whole nother video. That's a whole nother idea in terms of coverage. Some of the things that they apply to inside linebackers in terms of allowing completions should not be applied to inside linebackers. I have never seen an inside linebacker. Maybe I saw Ray Lewis make that play one time, but it's been a long damn time. I offer to you that the Ravens don't need Bobby Wagner at the price point that he's apparently, asking for. But $11 million really isn't that much for a guy of his caliber, for real. If you could get him for $11 million, I think you do it. But we have so many other needs. I feel like Josh Bynes, even L.J. Fort, along with Patrick Queen, I feel like they can do the job in there, but I absolutely understand that people have a different opinion, and they want to get as many high-level players in the building as possible, because that's what you need, right, to win Super Bowls, to win conference championships, to win division championships. You guys let me know what you think of the video. I know it was a little bit of clickbait, me putting Bobby Wagner in the title, and I didn't show any Bobby Wagner film. I actually have some Bobby Wagner film loaded up that I'm going to try to do a little bit later this evening or Tuesday night. Appreciate you guys' feedback in the comment section.